Welcome to The Mountain in Us, a podcast where the journey gets its voice. I am Taran Singh, your host. Here we greet the thrills, jolts, ascents, and descents of our uncharted adventures. Hey, everybody. Today, my guest is Leslie Lee, a global adventurer rooted in resilience and expecting her first newborn this fall. Welcome to the show, Leslie. I'm so glad to have you here.
Thank you, Taran. Thank you for inviting me to the show. And this is a very exciting topic that I have been um, thinking to discuss with someone as insightful as you. So, yes, I really appreciate that opportunity.
Yeah, and I do not know how insightful, but this is going to be a topic where we all go through and facing FOMO fearlessly is something that we will peel the onion about. Uh, as we before we kick off the topic, please introduce yourself to our audience.
I am Leslie Lee, and I was born and raised in China. And then I went to Switzerland for my undergrad and moved to the US after my school. Then I just made it home here. I consider myself a first generation immigrant here.
Yeah.
And
So you grew up in South China, right? We had somebody here earlier in the show. They were from Inner Mongolia, and I had no clue where Inner Mongolia is. But I also do not know, which part of China, South China,
I'd
you
say
are.
Inner Mongolians are like all the way to the top, the northern
Yeah,
top. I'm like all the way
yeah,
to the bottom.
yeah. So
Very
see,
different.
yeah, very different. We have covered the whole China in a
Yes.
way.
Yeah, I'm actually the minority. So the majority of Chinese here, they are from the ethnic group called Han. They're mostly Han people. I'm actually Zhuang, so I'm like second largest minority in China, which is actually a very large difference in terms of population. So our minority groups are known to be very free-spirited. We love singing, dancing. We have actually our own dialect that's very different from Mandarin. Mandarin is actually the language for Han. So it is the official language in China, but we have so many other dialects from different minority groups, ethnicity. And so I belong to this group called Drunk. Not drunk like you drink too much, but like Zhuang.
Zhuang, got it.
We have
And
our own
so,
costume. It's a very it's a mountain-based, I would say mountain-based group of people. And we have our own custom and food, recipe of cooking, language, like I mentioned, traditions, and when I did my wedding, I actually chose the traditional Zhuang style of wedding in China. So that was it's quite a unique experience.
yeah, that's a very unique insight. I had no idea about that. So
Mhm.
is and what impact, and I grew up in a mountain too, and this podcast is called Mountain in Us. So having somebody from that spirit is a blessing to me in terms of growing up in being a minority and having a different culture uh,
Mhm.
than the rest of it. Did you, as you look back or as you grew up, was one of your motivation to move based on that, or what inspired you to move to Switzerland and then to America?
Well, basically opportunities. Switzerland it was kind of like my parents' decision. My dad decided to send me there. A long story short, we had this very infamous university entrance exam. I'm sure every Chinese, you know, they know about this exam. Like it's like the only way for you to get into I would say, it gives you the opportunity to have a good career. If you get to go to a good school, it means it would lead to more better opportunities when you graduate. And unfortunately, I didn't do too well at that exam. And at that time, I would say in the early 2000, it was very popular to send kids to either, Europe, UK, US, these two are the most popular. We picked the kind of the less popular country because my dad had a business connection there. So he sent me to Switzerland thinking this is a way to, um, I would say, upgrade my my future opportunity since I didn't do well at that exam. So yeah, I follow his basic assignment. He just assigned me there,
Yeah.
and after that, I had the opportunity to either stay in Europe or I could go back to China, or I could go to the US. And at the time, I had an opportunity to do an internship in San Francisco. And everyone was telling me, oh, the Bay Area, San Francisco is very diverse, lots of Chinese here. You wouldn't feel alone. So I came here. Yeah. And then since then, I have stayed in the Bay Area. I made
Yeah.
it, made it my
Not
second home right now.
yeah, nothing like Bay Area, and we've
Mm.
known each other for a long time in the
Right.
Bay,
Mhm.
and it is unique place in the world, and diverse and also pretty harmonious in many ways. Uh,
Mhm.
what you mentioned about not being able to make it to the exam, and do you think that the way we've set it up, the modern civilization, that this fear of missing out
Mm.
is just a natural outcome that we tell our kids. I have a 12-year, and I sometimes do the same thing. Hey, if you don't study, you're going to be flipping burgers, right? So, are, do you think that how, especially in our immigrant households, to excel is a necessity to survive? That somehow that adds more fuel to FOMO of that you. What are your thoughts regarding that? I just want to hear what you think.
Yeah, I think it definitely has something to do with my upbringing. My dad, he's a self-made county judge. He was raised in a rural farming family, and then he made his way up to become he to join the National Air Force, which was like really, really strict selection. And he was selected there, and then with that honor, he was able to put himself to law school and graduate and become a judge. So for him, I think he applied the same hustler mentality in my, when raising me. So I think it really has to do with that a mindset that, we constantly need to look for growth and opportunities and China, being a developing country is just full of opportunities all the time, like um right now I'm when I go back to China, I'm just so like shocked by how much change it had happened since the time that I was there 20 years ago and now, just like completely different world. And then, if you look at the US 20 years ago and right now, not much change. But, in China, just like huge change. And this whole cultural background, I think it kind of created this formal mentality for me because it's just like there's so much opportunities out there, and how many did you catch, right? How much have you achieved when you were presented those opportunities, So yeah, definitely. I think this has a lot to do with my upbringing and the country I came from, my family, and also just the I would say the community here in San Francisco Bay Area, Silicon Valley, it's a very competitive community. You're seeing people around you achieving this and that, getting a better job, promotion, buying new houses, new investment properties, and achieving financial freedom. It's just like the social media itself these days also like creates this competition or comparison. I would say that,
Yeah,
oh, how well do you do compared to the closest people, like your circle, right? So it automatically puts you into this kind of fear that, oh, did I do enough? Did
yeah,
I achieve enough, right?
yeah. And you talked about both the culture and and aspects of relativity when we are comparing each other, ourselves to others and others comparing to us, and social media amplifies that
Hmm.
relativity of comparison. But
Yeah,
at
definitely.
what point you started thinking that, hey, this FOMO, this relative FOMO is stealing my moments, that I'm more anxious about what I don't have versus what I have. Uh, and how did that down to you, right? Is that something that happened over a period of time that you started observing yourself in moments, or because we all, right, at the end of the day, life is full of desire, right? So there is always something you want, and demarcating between a valid demand versus a FOMO is a hard battle, right? You want ice cream, that's not a FOMO. You can always get an ice cream, right? Uh, but but going to, I do not know, right? For as you said, like getting a promotion, that or could be something that could become a FOMO, that you're always thinking about what you want versus lose the moment, right? So is there something that triggered in you, or how did you think, like, maybe I'm not clarifying enough, but you get my point, that at what point you started observing the FOMO in you.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. I think in my, I would say in my early 20, I didn't really feel that much because that was the time when I was young and uh, just life is full of potentials. At the time, I think you also experience less failure, less frustration, right? The world, it's in your hand. You feel like you could do everything. You're fearless. I think that time I did not really experience that much. And also I just came to the US or I went to Switzerland. It was just like so exciting to experience the world at that time. I think really in my I would say around my 30, probably mid 30, especially when I did a career jump or switch in my early 30 after working in a hospitality management industry for since graduation. And then I wanted to be part of the IT or tech world just because I live here in the Bay Area. 90% of my friends working for some tech company, so I wanted to be part of it. And without any computer science background or IT um, education at the time, it was kind of hard for me to find a way to break into this industry. And and I was really like going out a lot, just trying to socialize, networking, looking for opportunities, and talking to people, just seeing how they are. And I have to say, when you're out there, it's just like um, a sales campaign. Everybody's talking about who they are, what they do, what they have done, what they will be doing, right? And this is when I start feeling this formal, is that, oh wow, those people out there are doing so much that I've never heard before, never done before. Um, so that's when I start experiencing it. And again, it's really just having the um, accessibility, to information, to what's out there that you didn't know before and you never know. It's like, oh my God, I never thought about investing in this stocks and like especially this whole like if I could have bought this house in 2008, now it's already
Yeah,
double,
yeah,
triple. If I would
yeah,
have bought this, stock back in what year, now I'm like,
yeah,
so rich and stuff already, right? So these are
yeah.
all like typical FOMO that I'm sure I'm not the only one
Everybody has. No, I think
experiencing it, you know.
I can raise my hand and attest to you that,
Yeah.
I have it, and if I would have done this, or if I would have done that, right? And uh, I also wanted to chat, as you said, in the 20s you didn't have that much of FOMO,
Mhm.
and as 30, do you think, especially when we are young, we are rebellious, and we are not worried about the comfort. The more comfortable we get in our surrounding and our understanding of the world, that it is harder for us to shake the FOMO.
Yeah, this is so true. Actually, I cannot agree. I mean, I sometimes question myself, or I even talk to people and say, I have more in my bank right now. I own more in my personal net worth, but I feel like I'm more anxious than when I had nothing. So, um, yeah, like I said, having this discussion actually it's making me to dive in more deeply into the root of my FOMO, like this, even just like thinking about how did that lead to this feelings and this fear of missing out, step by step back, chase back to how this was developed. And it's therapeutic to me. I think I said it earlier that um, it's kind of like a self-healing process, just thinking about, how did I come here? I was not like this before. I was happier, and now I had so much more,
Yeah,
but it's actually adding more weight on my shoulder.
yeah. You can always connect some dots in these cases looking back, but I think the beauty of also the life is, and which is a good pivot to my next question, is that, you know, you at this point of your life, you are facing your FOMOs, I won't say head on, but you're figuring out how to be out of that cobweb. And why is that important to you today? Is it that you're going to be a mother soon this fall? Is that the biggest trigger?
Yes. This is one thing I noticed that since I got pregnant is that I really do not want to pass any I would say negative thoughts or experience to the child. I feel like I actually talk to my child sometimes just like that, that I wanted to eliminate um the mistake or that I made, or the wrong way, the wrong path I took to the newborn, because I want this child to not to have to face that again, since I already know this is the wrong way to go, like. So I just started to develop this very strong desire to make myself a better person, to be a mother, to guide this child into the world. And the world's crazy right now, as we all feel. It would just probably getting crazier later, but honestly, I feel very positive. I feel like the new generation would have their way of coping and dealing with the world. So, but then as the older generation, I want to be able to pass down good knowledge, wisdoms, positivity to the younger generation, to give them courage. So FOMO is one of the facing my FOMO is one of the I would say challenge that I'm dealing with every day. It's definitely not an overnight success. It's something that maybe today I feel great about it, come up with some solution, but then maybe days after, when I hear something, some news or something else, I will feel like, oh, I experienced that again, and how can I overcome it again? So it's a constant battle and challenge. So I would say facing FOMO at this stage of life has become, like I said, incredibly important, especially that I am preparing to become a mother. And so far, my identity was deeply tied to like achievement, ambition, constantly striving for what's next. And that mindset, while motivating, it was also exhausting. So I felt like I was chasing something undefined, comparing myself to others and worrying that I wasn't doing enough. But now, as I step into the motherhood, I'm being called to slow down, right? To take a break, to reevaluate what truly matters. And I know that once my baby arrives, my time, energy, focus will shift in ways that I can't fully predict. So it's really important to address those internal narratives right now, because
Yeah,
I don't want to carry that same fear of, missing out to the next chapter. Like I mentioned earlier, I want to eliminate any negative stuff. And I want to be present. I want to create space to enjoy the moment, that I'm pregnant, and this connection that I have with my baby inside my womb. It's really magical, this experience. It's like you have to experience it to know what a mother feels like. There's no book, movie, or any virtual um, reality can really make you experience
Yeah,
it. This is really so like I was telling my husband the other day that goodness, I feel like I do feel like it's kind of like a missing out for women who can't experience this, although I know it's a personal choice. But now since I get to experience it, it's just like it's like so hard to describe it. And I can never imagine how it feels to grow a life, inside your body and you feel that. So yeah.
yeah,
So I really want to enjoy create like space to enjoy this moment without feeling like I'm falling behind or needing to prove something. Being a mother student has also helped me to realize that the success isn't about doing everything. It's about doing what aligns with my values and the season of life I'm in. Everyone has different timing. I know many of my friends already had children at earlier age, and right now they can focus their time on their career or enjoying their life, or maybe building something like being an entrepreneur or whatever that they wanted to, they already freed themselves from this whole family journey. And now I'm just starting mine a little bit at a later stage. But, like I just believe that
yeah,
everyone has their own timing and season. So this is my time.
yeah.
So,
So,
yeah.
no, first of all, congratulations. And, this is being a man, I can't, there's no words that I have, right? And this is, I think this is a special bond that
Mm,
not just it's just the way creation speaks to us, and you know, brings us a gift of new voice, and a new life. And that
mm,
is, and I'm always an optimist. I always believe that we can we can always create a better world, and to create a better world, we have to create a better present. In in your quest for to face your FOMO, have you changed your surroundings or habits, or are you doing certain
mm.
things that you are doing that you are
Yes.
not doing? And are you like for are you taking are you taking breaks from digital or people? What give us the recipe? What
That's
special things
definitely
you?
a very, very good question. And in fact, yes, I have been really switching some habits, little things from just, I try to not get on social media too much. To be honest, I think this is one of the main source that people get their FOMO and anxiety of not doing or going somewhere, attending some events. I purposely just eliminate time spending on social media. I told my friend, hey, if you want to catch up, ping me, call me, right? Let's do lunch. I may not be looking at your Facebook or Instagram that much. And just if I didn't like enough, you didn't see me like, and doesn't mean that I don't care. It's just I didn't see it. The other thing is just that, and also just stop comparing, honestly, just, knowing that like, yeah, everyone has their own different priority, different timing of things. Just because this person's doing this right now is so cool and exciting, and I couldn't do it because it's like now my husband is in Barcelona, attending a wedding, having a good time. I'm here alone, working, and
Hey, you're
but
not alone. You have your daughter with you, or
I could tell you if I were not at this stage of my life, I would feel like so much missing out. Like, oh my God, missing out on the parties and all the cool places to go. But now I actually didn't feel much at all. This whole week I felt very peaceful. I'm just following my schedule, doing my work, taking care of my dog, who's a senior that needs a lot of attention right now, and just reading, do yoga. I go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week, which is even though even though when I was younger or not pregnant, I wouldn't even go to the gym that often. I think this pregnancy really stimulated some motivation for me to live a better, healthier life in terms of diet, life habit, and then I think mindset. I think this is the most important switch that I did is just accepting the fact that I am right now here, there are limitations of what I could do. And actually, my career is one of the areas that I had the biggest FOMO. It's like, okay, right now, I'm gonna need to take some time off, right? After baby's out, and would this jeopardize my career? Would this create any too much break or make me miss opportunity for better job or promotion or right? So that is actually one of them. Other than the small habit lifestyle changing, this mindset about my career, I think it's been the I would say biggest source of FOMO for me. So for I've been talking to people just like how you and I last caught up. I've been talking to people who could give me different perspective on life and definitely Taran, you are such an inspiration that you did so many things outside of your work that it really inspired me in many ways. And every time when I talk to you, I gain something, new thoughts that life is not about just career success, making money, um, building personal net worth, right? It's about so many other beautiful things out there and helping others. I actually signed up for the Big Brother Big Sister program, right? I'm waiting for a match right now to help people. I like to volunteer. I go to church, I meditate. I just
Yeah.
try to surround myself with positive people and eliminate that fear that creates FOMO for me. Yeah.
Oh, this is thank you for speaking the truth. Sometimes we shuffle our FOMO,
Mhm.
and at least able to speak about it is half the battle, in my opinion. Right? Is that we all face it, right? I have my fear of, especially as you think, being financially, because of how the world is set up, right? There is the job is the biggest pain of the biggest or the most important thing in your life, but also the most important thing if you don't have one, right? And because your financial security and your livelihood depends upon it, and there is the way the society is structured, there is not a safety net
Mhm.
that is set up, especially if you don't have any, if you're first immigrants of first generation here. We have very, I have very little family here. But I've built such deep relationship with people, with like you or like my other friends. It's not because I want something from them. It's just that I want to feel connected to people. And when you connect to people, you also connect to your own self in many ways, right? You can look at, it's not, I might be talking about facing FOMOs to you that are your FOMOs, but I'm also facing my own FOMOs in this conversation.
Mhm.
So thank you for enlightening us with that. And the one last question that I have is, as you work your way around your FOMOs, uh, is there, this pivot of being a mother has changed you? What is one thing that you would say, Taran, I'm going to keep continuing this because I've seen that whenever I face struggle with figuring out is it FOMO or is really something that I need to go run after, that I am going to keep it to my heart and use that as one or other, maybe there are two things where you can say, okay, this is the way to identify a FOMO versus what is really truly you need to do.
Mm,
Yeah. So let
yeah.
me give you an example, right? So you could say that, like, you want to get a promotion, right? And then that's a valid thing, right? I'm working hard. I should get my promo. I should get my promotion, right? And that's particularly in professional life, happens all the time. But when you don't get it and somebody else gets it, you feel you're left out, and that resentment stays with you. And and how do you see this world if you have to tackle when you're down with FOMO? What is your advice to people that this is one thing you need to do and
Mhm.
not let FOMO drag you down into darkness?
Yeah, actually I wanted to uh share what you shared with me last time. I think when I met you, you were saying, I forgot exactly what you said, but it's something about you say the real rich people is the one that gives. I think that's something you said.
Yeah. I
Did you
think it's
say
not
that,
how
or
much you how much
how
you
much you
have.
give?
How much you
Uh-huh.
have is not how rich you are. How much you can give
Yes.
what is the true net worth of it. Our net worth is not how much we own. If I can't give anything, there's no point of living, right? At least, there's no point of,
Mhm.
you're no longer rich. In my opinion, people, those who give are the richest people because they know the beauty of giving.
Yes. So this is really it's very insightful answer. I actually know for a fact that there are some friends in my circle that I can see they own so much, right? But they are still living in the quoted poor life, in my opinion. It's just, the quality. You can see the quality of life and their happiness level does not really match or align to the wealth level that they have. So, just by seeing that, looking at others, and then, when I travel, the last place I traveled to that made me feel really a happy place is Fiji. Why? Because Fiji is it's a poor country, right? People don't have money there. But I just feel like the level of happiness there is very high. And I really like to go to places like that because life is so simple. All they
Yeah,
have is nature. And I mean, they have food, they have shelter, but they're not like anything luxury and stuff, but they are just happy when you talk to them and you look into their eyes. It's different. It feels different from people here, compared to people in the Bay Area. You look into their eyes, you see a lot of stress, anxiety, fears, right? Depending on who you're looking at, and aggression or ambition, like so.
yeah,
Um, I really don't think there's a right and wrong, in the lifestyle choose, but I really think the ultimate goal for us, right, to do all this is to be happy, isn't it? So if so, what makes us happy? This really, drill down to this essential questions. What make me happy, right? So the shift for me came when I started asking know what I was missing, but like why I felt like I needed, right? And was it truly aligned with who I am and what I value? Was I chasing someone else's definition of success and happiness, right? No, I mean, I should be chasing my own happiness and what's happiness to me, right? So I think that's when I start really rethink and reshape that mindset. Is that what makes me truly happy? It's not by chasing those stuff that my parents program me to think, what would bring me happiness. Because in their generation, I think life is tough, right? Owning more materials, it's probably the source of happiness.
yeah,
But nowadays it's different, it's not like we're struggling with food and shelter at this point, like honestly, um I think depending on the lifestyle that you choose, you really don't need a lot to survive or live a good life, to be honest.
yeah,
Uh, Somehow the standards were just put into us that we need to have it. I think again, a lot of time it's the social pressure, peer pressure, right, created this. So realizing this,
yeah,
mhm.
yeah. Because I think that is because when we think we are the only one for our own self, we're going to try to amass for the future, uh, and and we also do not know how much future we have. So like we can always say, we can have a house full or a refrigerator full, but and even stomach full, but the heart could be empty, right? Because that's what
Yeah,
because if you've given space in your heart to FOMO, there is no other space for other things to come, right? It just creeps up. It just it and then it takes over place things that where love needs to grow, something else starts growing. Uh, my last question, and this is just mostly for our audience, and anything that you are doing with your daughter, anything that is keeping you in high spirit this time, this phase of your life. Just share something with our audience that you do with your daughter. You mentioned you talk to her. Do you sing to her or?
Yes, I do.
Is it a folk song or are you singing random things?
I try to experience wonderful stuff because I know that my child is experiencing it while I'm experiencing at this point, right? If I eat something good, I can feel that she's moving more. If I go to a place that if I feel happy, I'm sure, this emotion will pass down to her. And the opposite, when I had a stressful moment or like a very angry moment, I actually apologized to her. I would talk to her and say, sorry, mommy hasn't, mommy has lost me. But this is
That's
not just temporary. It would go away, and I don't want this to bother you. When I am in the shower, I sing, I dance, and when I go to I love to go to Zumba. It just yeah, I don't know. It's a very very upbeat, cheerful environment when you go to Zumba class. So I go there at least twice a week to dance, and then with the music, yeah,
yeah,
and I think yes, she is one of the main, I would say, motivation and source of courage for me to live a more um, empowering life right now. I don't want to be driven by my fear. I want to live a life with power to choose, what kind of life I want to live, or what makes me really happy. But not not being, I would say sometimes that FOMO will come in, like especially when recruiters are pinging me, say, hey, do you want to apply to this job? This is, and I'll look at, oh, great company, like the title is interesting, exciting. And I was like, should I go interview, right? And I feel like this could be something that I want to do, but then I would look into, okay, would the company want to hire me if I am going to take maternity leave after I start a new job, or would this be a very demanding job that will take me away from my family? So like I would have that kind of conversation or debate again when things happen. When I look at LinkedIn. Even though I don't go to like Facebook or Instagram much, but then I go on LinkedIn sometimes. I see, oh, this person achieved this certification, went to this conferences, and that will also like for a moment it would trigger my FOMO again. Like so. So I'm trying to develop a mindset, or I would say a pattern of thinking. It's that the realization that I do not have to earn my worth through constant striving. Like if I take a break, that is not considered a loser or failure.
yeah,
You know, and becoming a mother has made that even more clear that I'm entering a season where I know I just can't do everything. And that's not a weakness. It's a strength, to
yeah.
be able to
That's
choose
an ultimate strength in my
intention,
opinion.
right? And courage for me is no longer about doing it all. It's about at peace with what I choose to prioritize, knowing that saying no to something means saying yes to something deeper and more meaningful, and more importantly, to accept myself just the way I am. And I could choose the way I want to live without following anyone's standards. So this is really like this. I'm constantly reminding myself, right? I would say to conclude, pivoting to face my FOMO is really about just choosing the clarity over noise and authenticity over approval. It's about reclaiming presence and what's the version of me that I want to carry into the next chapter of life and be a good role model to my child, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, this is what I
Thank you. This
like
is
I said, it's an ongoing exercise I'm living in every day.
yeah. Yeah, I think the world is designed that way. We have to live it that way. Is but this is I thank you for coming, and I really loved our conversation. So full of wisdom and so full of grounding for all of us. And I wish both of you, happiness,
Thank you so
and
much.
we will see you. I'm going to look forward to catching you with both of you pretty soon. So all the best, and thank you again for coming on the show. You have a good one.
Thank you. All right. Till next time. Bye, Taran.
Bye. Bye. Thank you for joining us on the Conversation Trails of the Mountain in Us podcast. Each episode here is crafted with love, adventure, and reflection. We hope you have enjoyed this one, and we welcome your thoughts on it. And if you want to be on the show, feel free to reach out.